welcome to another cup of tea with Magicowl Me, and even my t-shirt rhymes today because we've got bees, trees and C's, T's and Magicowl Me's. What a lovely day. I thought, seeing as it was such a beautiful day, I would come outside for our cup of tea. We could have a nice cup of tea in the garden. The only problem is that I hadn't factored into the fact that someone has got some kind of lawnmower strimmer going on. And my little microphone, I thought, that's all right, I'll put the microphone on and then you'll be able to hear me much easier, was for my old iPhone. And of course, iPhones keep changing those sodding points where you put things in, and so it doesn't fit anymore. And I have an adapter somewhere. Can I find it? No, of course I can't. So hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully the strimmer, lawnmower, whatever that is, isn't too annoying. And yes, let's have a cup of tea together and enjoy the rare sunshine, because the rest of May so far, where we are, I don't know about where you are, but we have had rubbish weather. It's been cold and wet and horrendous. Oh, I am also, as I am today, because I've been in the garden most of the morning, so hair is a bit hot and sweaty, and I have gardening clothes on rather than anything neat and tidy. Not that I'm ever really neat and tidy. that isn't something I really do. So today, what shall we talk about? Well, on one of my other videos, Lou commented and said she would like to know, she asked a question, she would like to know, what does it feel like when I do a tarot reading? Which is quite, I've never really thought about that question. What does it feel like? So I thought I would maybe have a quick chat about tarot. So if you can hear Clippy Claws on the patio, the dog has just come out. So first of all, which decks do I use? I must admit, I have never been a fan of the original Rider-Waite ones that everyone seems to use. Not everyone, a lot of people seem to use. The images just don't resonate for me. I can't follow because I'm quite a visual person and I learn things visually and I remember things visually, I could never remember. They all looked too similar and I could never kind of remember the symbolism and things like that on them. So my favourite deck is actually the Witch's Tarot, and it comes with a really nice sized book. I'm a fan of a book, so it comes with a really good sized book. I actually keep the cards separate though now in a little cloth pouch, but for me these are the ones that the images on I don't know, I understand them far more. I can find things on them that represent whatever it is they're meaning far more. I like these cards. These are the ones I work with most of the time. They're also a nice size in your hand. I also, though, this winter, I was using these ones. Now, I am a huge fan of Lorianne Anderson, or Lorraine. I'm not sure whether it's Lorianne or Lorraine. I'm really sorry, because it's horrible when people pronounce your name. I think it's Lorraine. But the Seasons of the Witch. Now I've got all of her Oracle decks as well, and then she has now brought out the Winter Tarot. So I'm hoping that means there will also be the other seasons, and they are, like all of her cards, they are just so beautiful. They always come with like a colour, glittery colour on the side, but they are, although they are the same as usual tarot cards, they have slightly different. So example, we have the Artisan of Winter Cups, and where is he? Sorry, and the Apprentice. They've got the Apprentice of the Winter Pentacles, the Initiate. So instead of like the King, the Queen, and the Page and the Knight, we have there. So there are some of the cards are named slightly different, but again they are beautiful, and they are illustrated by Tiana, she has done some of her other oracle decks as well, and it comes again with a good book. So through the winter I was using those, playing around with those ones, but usually if I do a reading for someone, unless I feel called to use a different deck, I will use the witch deck. So there are so many different ways you can do readings, and honestly I don't think there's a right or wrong. You get people who say, oh, you must tap on the cards to wake them, you must blow on them. These are all superstitious things, and I think part of the magic, the true magic of being a witch, is that actually you do it your own way. You do what works for you. Having said that, I do tend to tap on them. I don't think it necessarily wakes the cards, but that's my kind of like little thing I do. And then I will also, before I do any kind of reading, I will just connect into myself. I will open space. I will call in my guides, and put that kind of protection around me, and also state that anyone coming in, if I'm trying to do a reading for someone else, that only any messages that come through must be for the higher good of everyone, of them, of the person I'm doing the reading for myself, that I'm not interested in anything bad coming through at all. So I do kind of put up some protection, if you like, and then I will just sit with the cards. I will either hold them in my hand, or quite often hold them here, just so that I'm calming myself, my thoughts down, and focusing all the intention into the cards. Now, sometimes if I want to do a really, really quick reading, I won't do that. I will literally just go, right, what card have you got for me now? I literally just do that. So it depends whether I'm doing a proper reading, or whether I'm just literally wanting to pull a daily card, or if I'm doing a reading for someone else. So then, again, you get some people that will lay them out on the table, and either they pick or you pick, or you get people who shuffle them and will then pick a card, or I like to shuffle and see what falls out. So I always just say, right, whatever I'm supposed to know, or whatever this question is, I want the card to just jump out, and so that's the one that I know then is, or sometimes you'll get a card that kind of gets stuck going back in, so it won't go back in, so that would be the one. But Lou's question, and this is the thing that I've been trying to ponder on, Lou's question was, how does it feel? So it wasn't how do you actually do a reading, or how do you interpret the cards, it was how do you feel when you're doing them. So sometimes, if I'm being honest, I don't feel anything. It can literally be as if you were randomly shuffling a pack of cards and you pick one, and then it's just how you interpret that card. Other times, if I'm doing a reading for someone else, so I do quite a few readings for Lou, so quite often she will ask if there are any messages coming through sort of from her ancestors. So for that I will call, again, I've got my guides around me, I'll call in her ancestors, I'll focus my intentions on her, so that I'm making that connection between me and her, because the reading isn't for me, so I don't want to pull a card that is the interpretation is meant for me, not her. And sometimes you can feel, I don't want to necessarily say you can feel a presence, because I want to leave it more open that, because, I mean, it depends on who you think is steering the cards. Is it the spirits of ancestors or whoever? Are they actually pulling the cards from the deck, or is it your own intuition. I think it's more me that is pulling them, or it's also how I then am guided to interpret that card, because you can get the same card for two different readings and interpret them in completely different ways because of the context of what the reading was about, or the other cards that have come through with them. So if I pulled several cards, I would then look at how those cards interact with each other, rather than just saying this card means this card means that, and so on. Sometimes you can feel, you can feel as if you're, it's such a hard question. And I would pose this question to anyone else that reads cards. I mean, I'm focused on what's coming through. So I feel very relaxed. Sometimes you can get the energy of, if you believe that the spirit's communicating with you through the cards, you can get their kind of energy. So sometimes I might feel like laughing, even though I didn't have anything that I was laughing at beforehand, or you might feel apprehension. See, it's a tricky one for me because I'm Aquarius, so we don't really do feelings. So to be asked, how do you feel about something? It's probably one of the hardest questions I could get asked. Because we kind of bottle those feelings. We don't tap it. We feel it all, so we have the feelings, but we don't necessarily recognise them enough and can put into words what they are, so that anyone else would understand what we're talking about. So that's a pretty pants answer, really. So I'm really sorry, Lou. In other news this week, I have had such a stonkingly great week. Oh my God. So I came up with, and I don't even know where I got the idea from. I suddenly came up with this idea for a new book series. And it's set in the village of Wicklefen, and there are 13 members in the Wicklefen WI. Now, most people are going to expect WI to mean Women's Institute, but this one doesn't, but I won't tell you what it means. And there will be 13 books to go with each of these 13 characters, and each book will focus mainly on something, an adventure of some sort that happens to this character. So the first one, I literally spent the majority of the last 48 hours writing the first book, which is called Hepzibah Wobblehat and the Great Tofu Rolling Incident. And it has made me laugh out loud. There was one point, it was about 1:30 in the morning, and I was literally crying with laughter. So even if no one else finds these books funny, I have amused myself so much. I've had such fun writing them. So I then got really excited yesterday because I thought, sometime around 11 last night, I thought I'd finally finished the first book, and I was really excited, and I did, and I'd been typing it on the laptop, and I did the word count, and I'd been following the word count along, and it was really quite impressive, and I was like, oh, I've done 90,000 words. I was like, this is amazing. I was like, I can't believe I've written 90,000 words just in the last few hours. And then I realised that it wasn't 90,000 words, it was 90,000 characters. And in actual fact, I'd done 16,225 words. So I'm nowhere near finished. But the good thing is that the plot is all there, the storyline is all there. Now I just need to go back in and pad it out and fill in more details and add more description so that you can imagine the characters just as I can see them in my head. I tell you what, I'm so enjoying it. In other news, today, my penultimate one from my chakra series, my songs, is out. So I Am Guided is out today. And then next week will be the final one, which was I Am One. And then after that, I can't remember on my schedule whether I have a break and then I've got the Litha album coming out, or whether I release another single. I can't remember what I was going to do. But yeah, so the chakra series are nearly done. If you've been listening to those, I then have also been transcribing the violin parts from my Beltane and Litha albums, so that then anyone who plays the violin could play along with them, because that was something I used to love doing as a kid. And look at this gorgeous foxglove here. This has only just come out in the last couple of days. So other than that, I think that is pretty much what I've been up to. All of next week you will find me, if you want to find me in person, at Westlands Theatre in Yeovil, playing the violin for Annie. And there's somebody at the door. And that's my tea finished. So I will bid you farewell, and I will see you next week. Bye!